That friendly neighbor who keeps bringing over homemade treats. The co-worker who insists on giving personal items, or the acquaintance who offers thoughtful gifts out of nowhere, could be doing more than just being kind. These gifts might carry hidden intentions that go far beyond simple generosity. When witches want to establish a spiritual connection with someone, they often use physical objects as bridges between their power and the person they want to influence. These objects become tools that allow them to reach into lives, thoughts, and even futures. The scary part is that most people accept these gifts without a second thought, completely unaware of what they are really inviting into their homes and lives. Every single item that enters personal space carries energy, and when that item comes from someone with dark intentions, it becomes a doorway for spiritual attacks, manipulation, and control. This is not about being paranoid or rejecting every kind gesture that comes along. This is about understanding the reality of spiritual warfare and recognizing when something that looks innocent is actually dangerous. In this video, 5 specific gifts that witches commonly use will be revealed, along with why these particular items are so effective for casting spells. Each gift serves a unique purpose in the world of dark magic, and knowing what they are could be the difference between protection and disaster. Make sure not to skip any part of this video because every detail matters for full protection. If time is short, watch at 1.5 or 2 times speed instead of jumping around, because missing even one crucial point could leave a door open that should stay closed. Now here is where things get interesting. Think about the last time someone gave a piece of clothing as a gift. Maybe it was a scarf from a relative, a sweater from a friend, or even a handkerchief from someone at work. Most people just say thank you, wear it, and never think twice about it. But what if that innocent-looking gift was actually something way more serious than just a piece of cloth? The first gift that witches love to give out is clothing and fabric items. And once the reason behind it is understood, it becomes crystal clear why this method is so effective and so dangerous. Fabric is not just fabric. It might look like simple material, but fabric has a special ability that most other things do not have. It absorbs energy and holds onto it like a sponge soaking up water. When a witch wants to cast a spell on someone, they need something that can carry their intentions and keep those intentions active for as long as possible. Clothing does exactly that. When a piece of clothing is given as a gift, it sits right against the skin for hours and hours every single day. Think about it. A scarf wraps around the neck, a shirt covers the chest and back, a sweater touches the arms and body. This is not quick contact like shaking hands. This is long, continuous contact that keeps going all day long. The fabric becomes like a bridge connecting the witch's power directly to the person wearing it. And because the person wears it again and again, the spell just keeps working and working without ever stopping. But it gets even more disturbing than that. Before witches give clothing as gifts, they do not just pick something off a store shelf and wrap it up. They take time to prepare these items in very specific ways. They pray over them, chant over them, and perform rituals that charge the fabric with their intentions. Some witches even go as far as weaving things into the fabric itself. Hair, bodily fluids, or herbs with specific spiritual properties get sewn or woven right into the material during the creation process. So when someone puts on that handmade scarf or that carefully selected shirt, they are literally wrapping themselves in something that has been spiritually weaponized against them. The effect starts showing up in ways that seem completely unrelated to the clothing. Unexplained tiredness that does not go away, no matter how much sleep is gotten. Confusion that makes simple decisions feel impossible. Relationships that suddenly start falling apart for no clear reason. Money problems that come out of nowhere. And the scary part is that most people never connect these problems back to the clothing they received as a gift. If clothing has already been accepted from someone who might have bad intentions, it does not have to stay in the closet. Pray over every piece of clothing that comes from others before wearing it. Ask God to break any spiritual attachments and cleanse the item completely. Pay attention to how the body and spirit feel when wearing certain pieces. Strange smells that will not wash out. Weird feelings that only happen when the item is worn. Or a string of bad luck that started right after receiving the gift are all major red flags. And if something feels off, trust that feeling. It is better to throw away a sweater than to keep wearing something that is causing spiritual harm. Handmade gifts especially need extra caution because the person spent time creating it, which means they also had time to pour their intentions into every stitch. Now, the second gift might actually surprise some people because it is something that happens all the time in everyday life without anyone thinking twice about it. Picture this scenario. Someone at work brings in homemade cookies and insists that a specific person tries them. A neighbor keeps showing up with casseroles and gets visibly upset if they are not eaten right away. A family member prepares a special drink and watches closely to make sure every drop is finished. These situations happen to people constantly, and most of the time, the food is just food, and the person is just being nice. But sometimes something much darker is happening behind those kind gestures. A second gift that witches use to cast spells is food and drink, and the reason this method is so powerful should send chills down anyone's spine. When food or drink is consumed, it does not just sit on the outside of the body like clothing. It goes inside. It becomes part of the person who eats or drinks it. The stomach breaks it down. The body absorbs it, and it travels through the bloodstream to every single part of the body. If a witch has embedded a spell, curse, or controlling energy into that food, it is not judging the person. It is becoming the person. This clear throw is why food-based witchcraft is considered one of the most dangerous forms of spiritual attack. Witches who use this method know exactly what they are doing. They mix specific ingredients that have spiritual properties into the food. Sometimes they add potions that have been prepared through rituals, and in the most disturbing cases, they mix their own bodily substances into the food so that their DNA and spiritual signature literally become part of the person who consumes it. The effects of food-based spells can be devastating. Physical health can decline rapidly with sudden illnesses that doctors cannot explain. Mental clarity gets clouded, making it hard to think straight or make good decisions. Emotional stability becomes shaky with mood swings and feelings that do not make sense. Spiritual discernment gets dulled, making it harder to sense danger or hear God's voice. Strange cravings develop, especially cravings for more food from the same person. Personality changes happen that friends and family notice but cannot explain. And here is one of the biggest warning signs. An unexplainable attachment to the gift giver forms that feels obsessive or uncomfortable. Another major clue that food might be spiritually compromised is how the person offering it reacts when it gets declined. Someone who is genuinely just being nice will accept a polite no, thank you, without any problem. But a witch who has prepared food for spell work will often become offended, pushy, or even angry when the food is refused. They might guilt trip, make accusations of rudeness, or keep insisting over and over again until the person gives in and eats it. That pushy behavior is not about hurt feelings. It is about a failed spell that needs the food to be consumed to work. The Bible actually addresses this exact issue when it warns about eating food sacrificed to idols. That warning was not just about religious ceremonies in ancient times. It was about the spiritual reality that food can be used as a vehicle for powers and intentions that are not from God. Before eating anything from anyone, especially if it is homemade or insistently offered, pray over it. Ask God to cleanse it and break any evil attachments. Pay attention to how the food looks, smells, and tastes. Unusual colors, strange flavors, or a feeling of hesitation that will not go away are all signs to stop eating immediately. And if food from a suspicious source has already been consumed, spiritual cleansing is necessary. Pray for God's protection. Ask for the Holy Spirit to purify the body and spirit and break any spiritual ties that might have formed through that food. Right now, take a second to think about any jewelry that is currently being worn or owned, that necklace that never comes off, that bracelet from someone special, those earrings that get worn almost every day, that watch that sits on the wrist from morning until night. Jewelry seems so personal and so harmless, which is exactly why it makes the perfect tool for witchcraft. The third gift on this list is jewelry and accessories, and this is actually one of the most common methods witches use when they want to maintain long-term control over someone. Here is what makes jewelry so effective for spell work. Unlike clothing that eventually gets washed and changed, jewelry stays on the body constantly. Rings sit on fingers all day and all night. Necklaces rest right over the heart. Bracelets circle the wrists where pulses beat. Earrings hang close to the head and mind. Watches wrap around the wrist and never leave. This constant intimate contact creates an unbreakable spiritual connection between the enchanted object and the person wearing it. Metals and stones are not just pretty decoration. They can be charged with specific energies and intentions through rituals, incantations, and spell work. Different stones and metals serve different purposes in witchcraft. Some are used for control, making the wearer easier to manipulate and influence. Some create confusion, clouding judgment, and making clear thinking nearly impossible. Some are used for attraction, pulling the wearer emotionally or romantically toward the witch. Some cause repulsion, pushing away people who might help or protect the wearer. When jewelry has been enchanted, it creates a continuous spiritual link that works like an invisible cord connecting the witch to the wearer.